Good morning, everyone. Today is Thursday, March 17th, and happy St. Patty's Day to all of you. Hopefully you're not going to spend the evening drinking crazy amounts of green beer, but if you do, please enjoy yourself and drink responsibly. Anyway, thank you again for joining in, and if you're new to our format, we've been running these weekly webinars for about 3 years now, and they're really just meant to be a source of information and a place where you can ask questions and we can all learn as this law progresses together. So, each week I try to share information that may get you through the next week and it's helpful in your business models. So hopefully we're satisfying that need for you. But let's get right into the agenda. This one I've had up, the very first bullet point, I've had up for the last several weeks because I just want everybody to certainly understand what they're up against. And for the individual under 65 market, UPMC is still offering commissions up until 5/1 effective date. So up until 3/31, you can write for a 4/1 effective date. After that, everything is a 5/1 and is not going to be compensated. Independence Blue Cross is still paying. We've not heard that they're going to pull compensation. It wouldn't be totally unexpected, but at this point they said they're committed to offering compensation during the special election period. Last week a question, we did mention that Cap Blue Cross for the 2 to 50 market, starting with 6/1 renewals, will not be offering LIKI, Keep It, or non-PPACA or grandmothered provisions. Again, starting with 6/1 renewals. So any small group with a 6/1 renewal with capital will not be getting a non-PPACA option. They will only be offered an ACA or PPACA option, and unfortunately that means higher costs. So let us help you with that. If you have one of those groups, please reach out to us. We can certainly help you quote it and make sure that you're putting the group where they're going to be, in the plan that's most affordable to them and serves the purposes of their employees. The 50 to 99 will still be offered the LIKI, Keep It options with capital. That was a question that we had last week, and I wanted to make sure that I followed up with everyone and let everyone know. Also, another question we had last week was the next bullet point, which talked about Capital Blue Cross's mandatory maintenance medication fills. It is for the individual plans only, and what that requires is that if somebody is on a maintenance med, a 90-day supply, they have a choice to either get that mail ordered or they can pick up the 90-day supply from a CVS pharmacy. If they choose to continue doing retail in 30-day increments, then it will not be covered under their health plan. Again, all of these carriers are going towards mail order and trying to contain costs for the prescription benefits, which are, certainly getting out of hand for all of us and all plans. The next bullet point is about the employer notices from the marketplace for coverage in 2016. There was a blog on the NAHU site, and I did include it in the worth reading section of my newsletter that went out this morning. And essentially, what it says is that beginning in 2016, the FFM will send notices to employers if an employee receives a subsidy and the employee has identified their employer in their application for coverage. It goes on to say that Section 1411 of the ACA requires exchanges to notify employers that an employee has qualified for a premium tax credit for individual coverage through the marketplace. Generally, if an employee has an offer of coverage that meets minimum value or affordability requirements, the employee is not eligible for a subsidy. We all know that. So now they've kind of completed the circle and crossed their T's, dotted their I's, and made sure that people that are going to the exchange and have an offer of employer-sponsored coverage are giving valid information and cutting off those subsidies sooner rather than later. The FFM, the marketplace itself, was not really good about really drilling down those affordability questions for the employers. So a lot of folks that have employer-sponsored coverage, affordable employer-sponsored coverage, are receiving subsidies. So this is just one way to do away with that, which, you know, again, I think is a good step in the right direction. I did include in the handouts an upload of the appeal form, because if an employer receives this notice, the employer has 90 days to appeal the employer notice. And again, I included that as a handout in the event that you need it. Self-Funding 101 webinar. Just save the date, April 14th at 2 p.m. It is a Thursday, so if you're on our weekly webinars that week, I will remind you about the webinar, 2 p.m. on that day, Thursday the 14th of April. And I thought with all of the small groups, smaller groups, and all of the carriers coming out with self-funded programs, that for many of us, it's not something that we deal with day in and day out. So I thought it was important to have, you know, a 101 webinar to kind of go through the basics of self-funding, and, you know, so that you can build upon that when you're requesting quotes and presenting group health programs. I do think that self-funding is one of the ways that moving forward, when all of these groups go to full ACA plans, that again, it can keep costs down for the right group. So again, mark your calendars. Information will be forthcoming on the invitation. Another handout that I did put in to the handout section is a booklet on the information deadline chart, and this just talks about the deadlines, the notices for distributing and filing the 1095s and 1094s. I thought, you know, again, that would be helpful as a resource for you. And an additional flyer that I put in the handout section today was an invitation, and this is Thursday, April 21st. It's at the West Shore Country Club. That's in Mechanicsburg. So for those of you that may be out of town, it's you know, across the river, West Shore, Mechanicsburg area. And Charlie Giroux is going to be giving a presentation. There's dinner that's going to be included, and he's really just going to go through the subject is 2016 political perspective. So it may be of interest to all you political junkies out there, or maybe not, but it is open to the public. There is a cost. Non-members is $35, which is probably well worth it to many of you. So if you're interested, the flyer is there. Go ahead and reach out to Diane Barber and make arrangements to secure your seat. That brings us up to our open forum. Let's see if we have some questions today. Oh, I have a long question. Bill says, we had a rather large employer layoff in our area, and the calls started rolling in Monday about insurance. Isn't there any way we can get the PID to press the insurance companies about their SEP policies? This affected me last year in a July layoff. Maybe I should encourage my local employers to institute their layoffs in December. Yeah, I think, Bill, that would probably be more readily accepted, changing the employer than the insurance department. I know that NAFA and CPHU, NAHU has submitted information, letter to the insurers about the risks to consumers for not paying commissions during SEP, but you know, I don't know that it's going to make a difference. The SEP business is a volatile segment of business. People come in and out, and it affects the risk pools. You know, you can imagine when there's no prohibition from coming into the marketplace, getting your services, and then terminating coverage. You can imagine what that does to the MLR and the risk corridors, all of that. So they felt that the only way to you know, dissuade business is to not pay compensation, not realizing that there are valid SEPs, and for the most part, we in the agent community have really adhered to those rules and still are. The real problem was with the marketplace. You know, there was no documentation that was requested. They took the person calling in at their word. So they are starting to turn people away. that don't have an SEP or a qualifying event. I've heard that from some others. So it's a move in the right direction. Whether that helps you or not, Bill, I don't know. You know, that's certainly your decision if you want to do these cases pro bono to possibly keep them under your umbrella for open enrollment 2017. I can't make that decision for you, but I can tell you it's not going to be resolved through the PID anytime soon. Ed says, any updates or news to report regarding commissions on individual policies and it being considered by Highmark, Geisinger Capital? Funny you should ask, Ed. I did start putting out inquiries to the carriers to see what their intentions are for 2017. It's really early in the process, but I wanted to, just kind of get a feeling for what their thoughts were. Highmark and Capital, again, it's early, but their intentions are to offer commissions during open enrollment on the individual segment. Geisinger, I don't know. I haven't received an answer back from them yet, Ed. Of course, this year they only paid for renewals, Geisinger to Geisinger business, and not new to Geisinger business. Who knows? Obviously, anything that I find out, I will absolutely pass on to all of you. I just think it's a little bit early, but trust me, I'm on top of it. It's important to me as well, so I will pass on what I know. That's it. It's a short day for questions. Maybe you're all tired or just saving up your energy for all that green beer tonight. I don't know, but that really brings us to the conclusion of the agenda. Again, a reminder, next Thursday, the 24th of March at 9:30, we will have our weekly PPACA webinar for next week, and hopefully you'll join us. I always appreciate you joining in and appreciate your questions and your business that you do submit through URL. So thank you very much and have a great day and a great weekend. Bye-bye.